alien princesses laughed at Earth, until a human became their unexpected heir. In a small town, tucked between quiet hills and the winding river, Alex Rivera noticed it first. He was 15, with a mind that loved puzzles and a curiosity that often got him into trouble. That day, curiosity tugged him out of his room to watch the sky. At first, Alex thought it was a meteor shower. Then, as the objects descended closer, he realized they weren't meteors at all. They moved with purpose, controlled and fast. Metallic gleams reflected the sun, and each object shaped itself in ways no human machine could, sleek, elegant, and alien. "They're real," Alex whispered to himself. By the time he reached the edge of the river, 3 ships had landed in the meadow beyond the hills. They didn't crash. They simply lowered themselves like drops of liquid metal settling into the grass. And from each ship emerged a figure so strange and beautiful that Alex's heart nearly stopped. 3 alien princesses stepped onto Earth, their presence commanding and graceful. Their skin shimmered faintly, like sunlight on water, their eyes deep and shining with intelligence. Each wore flowing robes that seemed to move of their own accord, reflecting colors Alex had never seen. "This is Earth," the tallest of them said, her voice like a melody that echoed in the air without sound. Her name, Alex would soon learn, was Serenia. The other 2, Leora and Vela, nodded and surveyed the landscape with a faint, amused smile. Alex's first instinct was to run. Who would? These beings were clearly more advanced than humans in every way. Yet something inside him refused. Instead, he stepped forward, keeping his hands visible. "Hello," he said, his voice steadier than he felt. The princesses turned to him, and the smallest one, Vela, laughed. It wasn't a mean laugh, it was light, musical, but Alex immediately felt that they were looking at him as if he were amusing. "You are from this tiny planet?" Leora asked, her tone playful. "We heard of Earth." "We thought it was unremarkable," Alex swallowed. I guess it's small, but we have ideas, we build things, we learn." Serenia raised an eyebrow. "Ideas, learn. Do you understand the vastness of the galaxy, human? Do you understand the civilizations that thrive across stars?" Alex hesitated. He didn't. But he had something they couldn't see, something that had always helped him in school, in his games, in life. Imagination, creativity, and courage. "I don't know everything," Alex admitted, "but I know humans can solve problems in ways other beings can't. Sometimes we think differently." The princesses exchanged a look, half curiosity, half amusement. "You are bold," Serenia said finally. "Most humans would flee or hide." "You speak freely." Alex felt a small surge of pride. "I like to see things for myself, I like to try." Vela tilted her head. "Interesting, perhaps we should test this, human audacity." Before Alex could ask what she meant, the princesses stepped closer, their movements so graceful it was almost as if they floated. Leora extended a hand, a gesture both polite and commanding. "You will come with us," she said. "We shall see if your claims hold any truth. If humans can truly think as you say, then perhaps Earth is not so unremarkable." Alex blinked. "Come with you, to where?" "To Aurora Prime," Serenia replied. "A planet where ideas are reality, where thought shapes matter, and where power is not just strength, it is vision, wisdom, and creativity." Alex's mind raced. Aurora Prime, a planet of legends. He had read about it in obscure astronomy books, never thinking anyone alive would actually go there. And now he might go. "Wait," Alex said. I mean I've never been off Earth." The princesses smiled, not in mockery but with gentle understanding. "You will learn," Leora said. "If you are willing to see the world beyond your own, then perhaps you are capable of more than even you realize." Before Alex could protest further, a subtle vibration lifted him from the ground. He realized he was floating, caught in an invisible field that seemed to welcome him rather than restrain him. The grass and river below disappeared as the princesses led him to their ships. Inside the first ship, the world changed completely. Walls shimmered, shifting like liquid glass. reflecting Alex's astonished expression. Strange symbols floated in the air, rearranging themselves into patterns he instinctively understood. He realized he could interact with them by touching or even gesturing. How is this possible? Alex asked, awestruck. Vela smiled. This is how we live, human. Our technology and thought are one. Ideas become matter and imagination guides the physical world. You will see much more. Alex nodded, overwhelmed, but a spark inside him, his human curiosity, kept him attentive. I want to learn. Serenia's eyes softened. Good, then you may survive our tests. Tests. Alex's stomach tightened. He didn't know what awaited him, but he felt a thrill he had never known. This was no ordinary adventure. This was extraordinary. The princesses laughed together, a sound so harmonious it seemed to fill the ship and settle gently around Alex. He realized the laughter was not cruel. It was the laughter of beings who had seen countless worlds, but had rarely seen one like Earth, or one like him. As the ship rose from Earth, Alex watched his home planet shrink below him. Hills, rivers, and cities became tiny patches of color, and yet he felt no fear, not really. A part of him, the part that humans often call stubbornness, whispered, "If they underestimate us, they don't know what humans are capable of." Hours passed as the ship moved through the void, faster than light yet smooth and quiet. The princesses explained their world to Alex, not in words alone, but in visions and sensations. Aurora Prime was vast, a planet of floating cities, glowing rivers, forests that sang, and skies that shifted color with the thoughts of its inhabitants. Civilization here was not measured by material wealth or armies, but by knowledge, creativity, and harmony. Alex listened and learned. He asked questions. Sometimes his questions seemed simple, but the princesses listened. Sometimes they answered indirectly, letting him discover answers for himself. Finally, as the ship approached Aurora Prime, Alex could see the grand cities floating above oceans of light. Spires and towers shimmered in every imaginable color. Bridges made of glowing energy connected islands in the sky. Beings moved through the air effortlessly, their presence both alien and beautiful. "Welcome to Aurora Prime," Serenia said. "Here, we will see if your human mind can rise to the challenges of the galaxy." Alex's heart pounded. He didn't know what these challenges would be. He didn't know if he could succeed, but he had always believed in the human ability to face the unknown. "I'll do my best," he said quietly. Leora smiled. "Bold words. Let us see if you can back them up." And so, the small human from Earth, laughed at and underestimated, took his first steps into a universe where creativity, courage, and kindness mattered more than strength or technology. The princesses watched closely, their amusement slowly turning into something new: interest, curiosity, and perhaps respect. For the first time, Alex felt a strange sense of destiny. He did not know what lay ahead, but he knew one thing clearly. He would show these alien princesses, and perhaps the galaxy itself, that humans were not to be underestimated. The mockery of Earth had begun, but Alex Rivera was ready to turn it into something no one expected. The sky above Aurora Prime was a swirl of colors Alex had never seen before, shades of violet, gold, and green, shifting constantly as if the air itself were alive. Floating islands drifted gracefully across the horizon, connected by bridges of light that glimmered with energy. The moment he stepped out of the ship, Alex felt the weight of this new world. "This is incredible," he whispered, staring at a city that glowed like a living jewel. Serenia smiled. "It is not just beauty, human. It is the reflection of thought and will. Here, what you imagine can shape reality. That is why we have brought you, to see if your human mind can rise to the challenges that await." Alex swallowed nervously. "Challenges?" Leora stepped forward, her eyes sparkling with amusement. "Yes, you claim that humans can solve problems in ways others cannot. You claim that you think differently. Now you will prove it." The princesses guided Alex to a large platform that hovered over a glowing lake. At first it seemed empty, but then the air shimmered and formed shapes, intricate puzzles, moving patterns and structures that twisted impossibly in 3 dimensions. "This is your first test," Vela said. "You must navigate the labyrinth of thought. It is not dangerous, but it will challenge your mind. You must reach the center before the patterns shift completely. Failure is informative, not fatal." Alex nodded, though his heart raced. He could feel the gaze of the 3 princesses upon him, and a part of him wanted to run. But another part, the part that had always been curious, always loved challenges, pulled him forward. He stepped onto the platform. The moment his foot touched the glowing surface, the labyrinth rearranged itself around him. Paths that seemed solid a moment ago shifted into walls. Floating platforms rose and fell like waves. Symbols floated in the air, some familiar, some alien, hinting at solutions if he could only understand their patterns. Alex took a deep breath. He remembered what his father always told him: look for connections. Think differently. Don't just follow the obvious. He studied the symbols, noticing patterns humans might recognize: repetition, symmetry, cause and effect. He tested small ideas first. Touching one symbol made another move. Pressing a floating panel caused part of a wall to rotate. Slowly, Alex began to piece together the logic of the labyrinth. Meanwhile, the princesses watched from above. They expected him to struggle, perhaps even fail. But as minutes passed, they saw something unusual: a human mind adapting, observing, and creating solutions. Alex did not rush blindly. He paused, experimented, failed, and tried again. Finally, after what felt like hours but might have been minutes, Alex reached the center. A small platform hovered above a glowing orb which pulsed gently with light. Alex placed his hand on it and the labyrinth dissolved in a cascade of shimmering colors. Serenia's eyes widened slightly. "Remarkable. You see patterns where we assumed you could not." Vela's smile grew. "Perhaps we underestimated humans after all." Alex smiled, feeling a rush of pride. But there was no time to linger. The princesses had more tests ahead. Next, they brought him to the council hall of Aurora Prime, a vast space that seemed endless. Hundreds of alien beings moved gracefully across the hall, each busy with tasks humans could not imagine. Some floated, others shifted their forms slightly to interact with objects in unusual ways. The hall itself seemed alive, responding to thought and emotion. "This is your second test," Leora explained. "You must negotiate among these beings to achieve a simple goal. It is not about force. It is about understanding, communication, and influence. Humans rarely do well here." Alex looked around, feeling nervous. He had never negotiated with anyone outside his school or neighborhood, let alone alien beings who could literally shape reality with thought. A small crowd approached, a group of beings who seemed to communicate through light patterns rather than sound. They flickered and shimmered, and their expressions were impossible to read by human standards. Alex paused, then remembered something his grandmother had told him: listen carefully. Sometimes the answer is not in words, but in the intention behind them. He studied the light patterns, observing repetition, rhythm, and shifts in intensity. Slowly, he mimicked some patterns using gestures of his own, adding subtle variations. The alien beings paused, considered, and then responded with more patterns. Minutes passed. Alex adjusted, tried again, and finally the beings acknowledged him with a series of bright flashes. A small container appeared before him, holding a glowing crystal, the goal of the test. The princesses nodded in approval. "You listen, you observe, you adapt. This is what we call wisdom," Serenia said. Alex felt a thrill. He was learning quickly, and for the first time he felt that he belonged here, not as a visitor but as someone capable of understanding this world. The third test was the most unusual. The princesses took him to a floating forest, where plants moved and glowed in response to thought and emotion. The challenge was simple in words but complex in execution. He had to guide a small creature, lost and frightened, to its home without touching it, using only the environment and his understanding of the forest's reactions. Alex approached cautiously. The creature was small, with delicate wings that shimmered in the light. It darted nervously between glowing branches. At first, he tried to imitate the princesses, using thought to nudge the environment. Nothing worked. The creature grew more frightened. Then Alex paused. He remembered his dog at home, who sometimes hid when scared. What worked with his dog? Calmness, patience, encouragement, and gentle gestures. He slowed his thoughts, focused on kindness and patience rather than control. The plants responded, forming gentle barriers and paths, guiding the creature without forcing it. The creature paused, then slowly followed the safe path Alex created. Finally, it reached its nest, nestled in the highest branch. The creature chirped a soft, glowing melody. Alex breathed a sigh of relief. The princesses were silent for a moment, then Leora spoke. "You did not force. You did not dominate. You guided. Humans, sometimes, they understand the heart in ways others do not." Alex smiled, feeling both proud and humbled. He was learning more about this world and more about himself than he had ever imagined. The final test of the day was different. The princesses led him to a mirror-like pool floating high above the islands. "This is the reflection of potential," Vela said. "It shows what you might become if you embrace your strengths and face your weaknesses. Only those who can see themselves clearly can succeed in Aurora Prime." Alex gazed into the pool. At first, he saw himself as he always had, small, human, limited. But then the reflection shifted. He saw himself solving puzzles, leading beings with empathy, creating paths where none existed. He saw a version of himself that was capable, confident, and respected. "It is me," he whispered. "Yes," Serenia said softly. "Not who you are now, but who you could be. Every human has this potential, though few realize it. You, Alex Rivera, are one who sees it and one who dares to act." Alex felt a strange warmth in his chest. He realized that the tests were not just about puzzles or alien customs. They were about understanding, creativity, and heart. The princesses had seen something in him, and he was beginning to see it in himself. As the day ended, Alex sat on the edge of the pool, gazing at Aurora Prime's sky. The floating cities shimmered above him, the rivers of light glowed below, and the stars seemed closer than ever before. The princesses joined him, each sitting silently for a moment. Finally, Serenia spoke. "You have passed the first day, not because the tasks were easy, but because you thought, observed, and adapted. Many of our people underestimate humans. We are beginning to understand it. Perhaps we should not." Leora smiled. "Do not let this make you arrogant, human. The galaxy is vast and the challenges will grow, but you have the spark that might allow you to meet them." Vela laughed softly. "And that spark is something we rarely see outside our own kind. It is intriguing." Alex nodded. "I want to keep learning. I want to see what I can do." The princesses looked at him with a mixture of curiosity and respect. For the first time, their laughter was not of mockery but of amusement mixed with admiration. Aurora Prime was not Earth. It was a world where imagination shaped reality, where thought could move mountains, literally. Alex did not know what tomorrow would bring, but he knew this. He was ready to face it, with all the courage and creativity that made humans human. And so the small boy from Earth, once laughed at by alien princesses, began to prove that intelligence, empathy, and ingenuity could stand alongside any technology, any strength, any power in the galaxy. For Alex Rivera, the first day of the unexpected tests had ended, but the journey and the adventure had only just begun. The morning sun on Aurora Prime shimmered like liquid gold, casting gentle light across floating cities, rivers of glowing energy, and forests that sang in quiet harmony. Alex Rivera awoke with a strange mix of excitement and nervousness. Yesterday had tested his mind, patience, and creativity, but today felt different. The princesses had spoken of challenges that grow. As he prepared to meet them, the ground beneath the cities began to hum faintly. The hum grew, vibrating through the air and buildings. Birds of light scattered into the sky, and the rivers of energy shimmered erratically. Aurora Prime was calm, organized, and precise, and something in the universe was disrupting it. Alex ran to the platform where the princesses awaited him. Serenia's face, normally composed and serene, now held tension. Leora and Vela moved quickly, coordinating with the beings around them, issuing instructions and stabilizing systems. "What's happening?" Alex asked. Serenia looked at him gravely. "A solar storm, human. A massive burst of energy from the nearest star. It will strike our planet in moments. Our systems are advanced, but the energy is unpredictable. Many areas may fail simultaneously." Alex's heart raced. "Can't you stop it?" Leora shook her head. "We can contain it, but the speed and scale are beyond normal measures. Our technology alone is not enough. This may be a task even we cannot solve without creative thinking." Alex realized suddenly that this was more than a test. This was a real crisis. And unlike the controlled puzzles or interactions of yesterday, this challenge could have consequences for thousands of beings. "Then, what can I do?" he asked. Vela smiled faintly. "Observe first, think second, act wisely. Do not underestimate what humans can contribute, even here." The three princesses led him to a control hub above the central city. Screens of light floated in midair, showing glowing pathways, power flows, and energy surges threatening to disrupt the floating islands. Alien operators, usually calm and precise, moved frantically trying to stabilize the systems. Alex studied the diagrams and symbols. At first, it made no sense. The energy flows twisted and turned unpredictably, but he noticed something others didn't. Certain patterns repeated in subtle ways, like puzzles, like rhythms, like sequences humans often see in nature. "Wait," he said aloud. "The energy surges aren't random. They follow cycles like waves. We can redirect them if we work with the flow, not against it." The princesses turned to him, intrigued. "Go on," Serenia urged. Alex traced his finger through the holographic flows. "If we create channels along these natural cycles, the energy will pass safely through the city. It won't stop the storm, but it will prevent damage." Leora's eyes widened. "You mean using the storm's own patterns to stabilize our systems?" Alex nodded. "Exactly. We just need to guide it carefully. Think of it like a river. If it flows naturally, it won't flood the land." The princesses exchanged a look. This was unconventional thinking. Humans rarely approached problems in such a way, yet the idea made sense. "Then do it," Vela said. "We will support, but the execution is yours." Alex took a deep breath. He began giving instructions, using gestures to manipulate the energy channels through the holographic displays. He coordinated the alien operators, pointing out sequences and adjustments. At first, they were hesitant, unsure if a human could guide such immense forces. But as the energy began to respond to Alex's directions, they followed him without question. Minutes passed like hours. Energy surged, threatening to break containment, then obeyed Alex's guidance. He felt sweat on his brow, but he didn't stop. Every instinct he had, from playing games to solving school puzzles, helped him think creatively under pressure. Then a massive surge hit the central city. Lights flickered and floating bridges swayed. Beings above panicked. Alex stayed calm. He spotted the surge's pattern and quickly adjusted the channels, guiding the energy safely into auxiliary conduits. The city shuddered but remained intact. The princesses watched silently, awe slowly replacing tension. Finally, the storm passed. Aurora Prime shimmered under a calm sky once again. The energy rivers flowed smoothly, the floating cities floated steadily, and the beings of the planet resumed their activities. Serenia stepped forward, placing a hand on Alex's shoulder. "Human, You have saved this planet. Not with strength, but with insight, observation, and clever action. We underestimated what you could do. Leora added, humans rarely act so quickly and creatively under such pressure. You have proven that your kind has value beyond what we imagined. Alex felt a mixture of pride and relief. I just tried to think differently, that's all. Vela laughed softly, but it was full of admiration. Sometimes thinking differently is all it takes. Today, a human has reminded us that cleverness, courage, and calm under pressure matter as much as power. The beings of Aurora Prime, who had once watched humans with amusement or disinterest, now looked at Alex with curiosity and respect. He realized in that moment that humanity's smallness on a galactic scale did not mean insignificance. Humans had something rare, the ability to adapt, imagine, and act under uncertainty. After the storm, the princesses took Alex to the Hall of Reflection, where he could rest and review the events. The hall's walls shimmered with images of the day's events. The storm, the energy flows, the reactions of the operators, and the calm he maintained. Serenia spoke quietly. You acted without arrogance, without fear, and without hesitation. Many of our kind would have frozen. Many humans might have panicked. But you saw the problem, understood it, and acted. Alex felt both proud and humbled. I didn't do it alone. I had to learn quickly, but I guess humans have a way of seeing solutions others don't. Leora nodded. Indeed, we are beginning to understand. Perhaps the galaxy has underestimated your people. Vela smiled, her eyes twinkling. And perhaps, human, there is more to you than even you realize. You may not see it yet, but others do. As Alex sat in the hall, reflecting on the events, he noticed a small group of beings approaching him. They were young like him, though alien, and they had been observing his actions during the crisis. One stepped forward, a glowing pattern swirling around its head. You guided us, it said. We saw your mind. It works in ways we cannot always imagine. Perhaps humans are rare. Alex smiled. I just tried to help, but thank you, I'm glad it worked. The being tilted its head. We hope you continue to teach and lead. Aurora Prime will need minds like yours. For the first time, Alex felt a deep sense of connection, not just to the princesses, but to this world and its inhabitants. They had once laughed at Earth, laughed at humans, and yet here they were, acknowledging him as a capable mind, a leader, a problem solver. The princesses joined the group, their laughter gentle and warm. It was no longer the mocking sound from the beginning of his journey, but a sound of admiration, joy, and hope. Alex realized that humans had a gift that even advanced alien civilizations sometimes overlooked. Ingenuity combined with empathy, courage combined with humility, and vision combined with action. As night fell over Aurora Prime, Alex stood on a balcony overlooking the floating cities. The stars above shone brightly, and he could see the faint glow of distant planets. He felt small in the vastness of space, yet larger than he had ever felt on Earth. He had faced a crisis no human had before, and he had succeeded, not by luck, but by using his mind, his heart, and his human perspective. Serenia approached quietly. You have done well, human. Today, you reminded us all that power is not the only measure of worth. Thought, courage, and creativity, these matter as much as the might of armies or the sophistication of technology. Alex nodded. I'll keep learning, I want to do more. Leora placed a hand on his shoulder. And you will. Tomorrow, the challenges will grow. But today you have shown that even a human can change the fate of worlds. Vela laughed softly. And perhaps, one day, humans will teach the galaxy more than we ever imagined. Alex looked out at the city one last time before returning inside. He realized that the princesses' laughter had changed, from ridicule to curiosity and now, perhaps, to respect. Humans had been underestimated, and he had begun to show why they should never be. For Alex Rivera, the day of crisis was more than a test. It was a lesson in human potential. He had faced uncertainty, guided a planet, and shown that even small beings could make a difference in the vast universe. And as the night deepened, he knew that his journey was only beginning. The galaxy was vast, the challenges immense, and the princess's expectations high, but he was ready. Aurora Prime had witnessed a human rise to its first true challenge, and the galaxy, though unaware, had begun to see Earth in a new light. Alex smiled quietly to himself. Humans may have seemed small, fragile, and simple to the galaxy, but in truth, they were capable of extraordinary things. And he would prove it, one challenge at a time. The sun rose over Aurora Prime, casting long, golden shadows across the floating cities. The aftermath of the solar storm still shimmered in the glowing rivers of energy, a quiet reminder of the crisis Alex Rivera had helped avert. Today, however, the princesses had something different in mind. Today was not about solving puzzles or reacting to emergencies. Today was about leadership. Serenia, Leora, and Vela led Alex to a large hall, its walls transparent and shifting, showing floating islands and sparkling rivers. The space seemed alive, subtly responding to the emotions of those within it. Alex felt a familiar thrill mixed with nervousness. He had survived challenges before, but this was new. "You have proven yourself clever, human," Serenia began. "You have acted when others faltered. You have guided, solved, and adapted. But now you will learn what it means to lead, not only to act but to inspire and guide others." Alex nodded. He had never imagined such a lesson. On Earth, leadership was about taking initiative, helping others, and making decisions. But here it felt larger, more complex. The beings he would work with were stronger, faster, and far more experienced than humans. Leora gestured toward a group of alien youths gathered in the hall. "These are your first charges. They are young, curious, and impatient like you. Your task is simple in words but complex in practice. Guide them in building a bridge of energy across the floating chasm outside. Success depends not on force but on collaboration and understanding." Alex stepped forward. He felt a flicker of doubt. The bridge of energy was a delicate structure, shimmering in the sky. Any mistake could cause it to collapse. And these beings, though young, were already skilled in shaping matter and energy. How could a human with no such powers guide them? He took a deep breath and remembered what had helped him survive so far: observation, empathy, and creativity. "We need a plan," he said, "not just instructions. Let's see what each of you can do best, then work together." The alien youths exchanged glances. They were used to leaders giving direct commands, expecting obedience. Alex's approach, listening, observing, and guiding, was unusual but intriguing. He watched each being closely. One could shape energy easily but was careless with precision. Another was methodical but slow. A third was creative but lacked focus. Alex assigned roles based on their strengths, guiding them subtly to combine abilities. "Try connecting your streams here," he instructed, pointing to a section of the chasm. "Now let the energy flow gently, not forcefully. Imagine the bridge as a river forming naturally, not as a wall being built." The youths hesitated, then followed his advice. Slowly, the bridge began to take shape. The energy shimmered and pulsed, flowing smoothly across the gap. Alex encouraged them, adjusting roles and strategies as needed, praising successes and correcting mistakes gently. The princesses observed silently, their expressions unreadable. They had expected the youths to struggle, perhaps even fail under a human's guidance. But Alex's calm, patient leadership was having an effect. After some time, the bridge was complete, a flawless arc of shimmering energy spanning the chasm. The youths cheered, not at Alex alone, but at their own accomplishment under his guidance. Serenia's eyes sparkled. "Remarkable, you lead not by force but by understanding. You teach, you inspire, and you guide. This is true leadership." Alex felt a quiet pride. He realized that leadership was not about being the strongest or the fastest. It was about helping others see their potential and work together toward a common goal. The princesses led him to the next lesson. This time, the hall transformed into a council chamber filled with alien delegates from various planets. Some were stern and serious, others curious or playful, but all carried the authority of their civilizations. "This is your next challenge," Leora said. "You must represent Aurora Prime in a council meeting. You are a human, small and inexperienced, but you have insights they may not. You must speak, negotiate, and find common ground without anger, fear, or force. Many humans would fail." Alex stepped forward nervously. The room was vast, filled with beings taller and larger than humans, with voices that resonated in the hall. He could feel the weight of their judgment, but he remembered the storm, the labyrinth, and the bridge. He had faced challenges before, and humans often succeeded through creativity and empathy rather than strength. He began by listening. The delegates presented their concerns, territorial disputes, resource allocation, and differing approaches to trade and culture. Most spoke quickly, trying to dominate the conversation. Alex noticed patterns in their arguments, similarities between concerns and opportunities for compromise. When he spoke, he did so calmly. "I understand your concerns," he began. "But perhaps we can find solutions that allow each of you to benefit. If we combine your knowledge and Aurora Prime's resources, we can create systems that are fair and productive." At first, the delegates were skeptical. A human, could he understand their needs? Could he negotiate fairly? But as Alex continued, pointing out patterns and proposing creative compromises, they began to listen. One delegate raised a concern about energy distribution. Alex suggested using a system similar to the bridge of energy he had guided the youths to build, channels that flowed naturally, adjusting automatically to demand, rather than rigidly fixed networks. The council paused, considering the idea. After a moment, another delegate nodded, then another. Slowly, the room shifted from skepticism to curiosity and finally to agreement. The princesses watched with quiet approval. "You do not dominate. You do not demand. You understand, analyze, and propose," Serenia said. "This is how humans can shine in diplomacy, by seeing connections others overlook." After the council session, Alex felt exhausted but exhilarated. He had faced beings far more advanced than humans, and yet his perspective had mattered. He realized that leadership was not about being the strongest voice in the room, but about observing carefully, thinking clearly, and guiding with empathy. The lessons continued throughout the day. Alex learned to mediate disputes among young aliens, to coordinate joint projects between different communities, and to inspire beings who doubted his ability. Each task was a challenge, but each success reinforced a simple truth. Humans, though small in size, could lead through understanding, creativity, and heart. That evening, the princesses took Alex to a quiet garden suspended high above the floating cities. The trees glowed softly and streams of energy flowed gently around them. Alex sat beside them, tired but thoughtful. "You have done well today, human," Leora said. "You have guided, inspired, and negotiated. Many of our kind would have failed in these situations. Yet you succeeded." Alex shook his head. "I just tried to do what felt right. I listened, I observed, and I thought about how to help, that's all." Serenia smiled. "No, human, that is everything. To lead, one must see the strengths and weaknesses of others, understand their motivations, and guide them to work together. You have done all of this." Vela laughed softly, the sound warm and approving. "And perhaps, Alex, you are beginning to understand why humans have always surprised us. Not through power, not through technology, but through the ability to think, feel, and act in ways others cannot predict." Alex looked out over Aurora Prime, the floating cities shimmering under the stars. He realized that leadership was not a title or a position. It was a responsibility, a commitment to help others achieve their potential while guiding them wisely. He had begun as a curious boy from Earth, laughed at and underestimated. But now, under the guidance of alien princesses and the pressure of real challenges, he was learning to see himself as a leader. Not a ruler, not a hero in the traditional sense, but someone capable of inspiring others, solving problems creatively and bridging gaps between worlds. The princesses stayed with him for a while, silent but present, letting him reflect. Then Serenia spoke again. Tomorrow will bring even greater challenges, human. You have shown skill, insight, and heart, but the galaxy is vast. There will be crises that test more than your mind. They will test your wisdom, patience, and vision. Are you ready? Alex nodded firmly. I am ready. I want to learn, to help, and to do my best. I know I'm small compared to this galaxy, but I'll try to make a difference. Leora placed a hand on his shoulder. That, human, is the most important quality of all. Even the smallest beings can have the greatest impact when they lead with care, creativity, and courage. As Alex walked back to his quarters, he felt a new confidence growing inside him. He had faced challenges no human had before and learned lessons that many adults would never understand. Leadership was more than command. It was vision, empathy, and understanding. And he, a human from a tiny blue planet, was beginning to embody those qualities. The princess's laughter, once mocking, had changed. From ridicule to curiosity, and now to admiration, it was a sound that reminded him of the journey ahead. The galaxy was vast, the challenges immense, and the expectations high. But Alex Rivera was ready to face them, one lesson at a time. Aurora Prime had seen a human rise beyond expectations. The princesses had begun to see him not as a novelty or amusement, but as a being capable of greatness. And Alex, in turn, had begun to see himself as someone who could bridge worlds, inspire others, and rise to challenges far beyond anything he had imagined on Earth. For the first time, he understood that leadership was not about power or glory. It was about heart, vision, and the courage to act. And with that understanding, he felt ready for whatever the next day and the next challenge might bring. The sky over Aurora Prime glimmered in shades of violet and gold, the floating city sparkling like jewels suspended in a dream. Today was not just any day. Today, the galaxy would witness a decision that no one could have predicted. Alex Rivera, the human from Earth, stood on the highest platform of the central city. The princesses, Serenia, Leora, and Vela, stood beside him, their robes flowing with the currents of energy that surrounded them. Delegates, scholars, and citizens from countless planets had gathered, their forms and colors unlike anything Alex had ever seen. This was a ceremony of recognition, a declaration that would change everything. Serenia spoke first, her voice carrying across the city like a gentle wave. We have laughed at Earth. We have thought its people small, insignificant, and lacking. Yet one human, Alex Rivera, has shown us the truth, that courage, creativity, empathy, and vision can come in the smallest forms. Alex felt a mix of pride and humility. He had never imagined that a boy from Earth, a planet considered unremarkable, could be celebrated across the galaxy. Leora stepped forward. Alex has faced challenges beyond what any human or many aliens would dare. He has guided, he has solved problems, and he has led with heart. For these reasons, we declare him our heir, the first human to hold this honor among the princesses of Aurora Prime. Gasps of surprise rippled through the crowd. A human, an heir. Many had expected a member of the princesses' own kind to be recognized, but now a human was being chosen. Alex looked at the princesses. They smiled warmly, no longer with amusement but with respect and admiration. Vela's voice rang out, playful yet serious. We once laughed. Now we celebrate. A human has proven that greatness is not measured by strength, technology, or appearance, but by courage, wisdom, and heart. Alex stepped forward, his heart pounding. He thought of Earth, his family, his friends, and the life he had left behind. He thought of the labyrinth, the bridge, the council, and the solar storm. Each challenge had taught him something about himself, about leadership, and about humanity's potential. I don't know what to say, Alex admitted, his voice steady despite the enormity of the moment. I'm just a human from Earth. I never imagined I could be part of something like this. Serenia placed a hand on his shoulder. That is precisely why you are chosen. You have shown humility, courage, and insight. You are a bridge between worlds, not just in skill, but in spirit. Leora added, the galaxy often underestimates humans, but Alex has reminded us that even those we consider small can achieve greatness. His actions prove that potential is not determined by size, but by heart and mind. Alex looked at the crowd and took a deep breath. I promise to do my best. I will learn, I will guide, and I will work to bring humans and aliens together. I will respect both our worlds, and I will try to make them stronger, wiser, and kinder. The crowd erupted in applause, cheers, and shimmering displays of light. Delegates from planets Alex had never known existed stepped forward to offer symbols of respect and friendship. Beings that had once doubted humans now looked at him with admiration. As the ceremony continued, Alex noticed something remarkable. The princess's laughter, once mocking, had transformed completely. It was no longer laughter at someone else's expense. It was laughter of joy, of recognition, and of hope. Serenia spoke again, her eyes shining. Let this be a reminder to all. No matter how small a world, no matter how unlikely a being may seem, greatness can arise from the unlikeliest of places. Humans have earned a place among the stars, and Alex Rivera embodies that truth. Alex felt a warmth spread through him. He realized that this moment was bigger than himself. It was about humanity, about potential, about the ability to rise above expectation and doubt. He thought of the children on Earth, the people who had never left their towns, the scientists, inventors, and dreamers who worked quietly to make their world better. Perhaps, one day, they too would know that humans could reach for the stars, not just in space, but in spirit. After the formal ceremony, the princesses led Alex to a quiet balcony overlooking the city. The floating islands shimmered below, rivers of energy flowed gently, and distant stars sparkled as if acknowledging him. You have come far, human, Serenia said. But the journey is only beginning. Leadership is not a title. It is responsibility, humility, and action. You have the qualities needed, but you will continue to learn. There will be challenges we cannot foresee. Alex nodded. I understand, and I'm ready. I will try my best, not for myself, but for everyone, humans, aliens, and this galaxy we share. Leora smiled. That is why you were chosen. You think not just for yourself, but for others. That is the mark of a true heir. Vela laughed softly. And perhaps, human, one day you will teach even us more than we have taught you. Humans are unpredictable, yes, but in ways that are often extraordinary. Alex looked at them and felt a deep sense of belonging. He was far from Earth, yet he carried his home with him, its creativity, curiosity, and courage. He realized that being an heir was not about privilege. It was about responsibility, about showing what humans could achieve, and about connecting worlds in understanding and cooperation. The next days were filled with lessons and duties. Alex met with ambassadors, guided projects that combined human and alien ideas, and helped solve disputes with his unique perspective. He did not rule with authority, but with insight, patience, and heart. Slowly, the galaxy began to see humans not as small, weak, or insignificant, but as partners, innovators, and leaders. One afternoon, as he watched a group of children, human and alien, working together to create a floating garden, Alex reflected on how far he had come. He remembered the first day when the princesses laughed at Earth. Now they laughed again, but this time with joy and admiration, celebrating not just him but the potential of his entire species. Serenia joined him, standing silently for a moment. Do you see, human? You have changed perceptions. You have reminded us all that greatness is not only about power or appearance. It is about heart, courage, and the willingness to act. Alex smiled. I think I've only begun. There is so much more to learn, and I want to keep learning. I want to help humans and aliens see the best in each other. Leora nodded. And that is why you will succeed. You lead not by fear but by understanding, not by force but by vision, and in doing so you give hope to both worlds. Vela added, we laughed at Earth once. But now, thanks to you, we understand that even small worlds can shine. Humans have a spark that can light the galaxy if they dare to reach for it. Alex felt a quiet pride mixed with humility. He was still a human, still from a small, blue planet. But he had learned that smallness was not weakness. It was perspective, creativity, and courage that defined worth. And he had proven that even a single human could make a difference among the stars. As the sun set over Aurora Prime, painting the sky in colors no earthly painter could replicate, Alex looked at the princesses. Thank you, he said. Not just for choosing me, but for teaching me. I will do my best, not just for myself, but for all of us. Serenia smiled warmly. And that human is why you were chosen. You remind us all what it means to be capable, brave, and kind. The three princesses laughed softly, a sound of celebration and joy echoing across the floating cities. Alex realized then that the laughter had changed completely. It was no longer a sound of mockery, but of admiration, recognition, and hope. Humans had earned a place among the stars, and Alex Rivera had become their unexpected heir, a symbol of courage, creativity, and the extraordinary potential of an underestimated species. The galaxy had witnessed something remarkable. A human had risen, not through power or technology, but through heart, vision, and the ability to act. And as Alex looked at the stars, he knew that this was only the beginning. He had proven one undeniable truth. Humans, no matter how small, could achieve greatness when they believed in themselves and acted with courage, wisdom, and compassion. And with that, the journey of the human heir of Aurora Prime continued, bright with promise, adventure, and hope.